Captain Rylan Ward stood at the edge of the landing platform with his daughter, Mira, by his side. The cold wind from the empty moon brushed against their faces as they looked at the huge structure in front of them. It was the space base they had inherited from Rylan's late father. Everyone in the nearby colony told them the same thing. It is useless. It is dead. Sell it and leave. But Rylan did not believe in running away. And Mira, she was curious about everything. She held her father's gloved hand tightly as they stepped toward the old metal doors. The base looked broken and tired, like it had slept for 100 years. The lights were off. The power cells were dead. The support beams were rusted. And the silence was thick. Other settlers stood far away, watching with mocking smiles. They whispered loud enough for Mira to hear. "Look at that old soldier, fixing trash. His daughter is wasting her childhood in ruins. That base should be demolished." Mira tried to ignore them, but she felt their words like sharp stones. She looked up at her father. "Why did Grandpa leave this place to us?" she asked softly. Rylan placed a hand on her shoulder. "Because he believed there is something here worth saving. And I trust his judgment." He pushed the door. To their surprise, it slid open with a groaning sound. Dust fell like rain. Mira stepped inside first. The air was cold and stale, but the moment she walked in, something unexpected happened. A deep, distant hum began to echo through the hallway. Mira stopped. "Dad, did you hear that?" Before Rylan could answer, a light flickered above them, once, twice, and then dimmed again. It was not enough to brighten the room, but it was enough to make Rylan frown. This base should not have any power left. The cells were supposed to be empty. He checked the readings on his wrist device. "No, this is impossible. Something just activated." They walked deeper inside. The base was huge, a long maze of empty rooms, broken doors, and dusty control panels. Footsteps echoed like they were walking with ghosts. Mira explored faster than her father, touching walls, peeking into rooms, checking strange machines she did not understand. She felt like the base was breathing. Rylan followed closely behind, making sure she stayed safe. He had fought in many battles and survived many horrors. But this silent, sleeping base made him uneasy. It felt like something watched them from the shadows. As they reached the central hall, Mira gasped. A large sealed door stood in the center, unlike any other door in the base. It was smooth, perfect, and glowing faintly with a symbol neither of them had ever seen. It looked ancient, older than the base itself. "Dad, what is that?" she whispered. Rylan shook his head. "I have no idea." Mira walked closer. Her fingers hovered above the symbol. Something inside her felt drawn to it, like it was calling her. Rylan reached for her arm. "Mira, wait." But before he could stop her, she touched the glowing symbol. The base awakened. A wave of warm air rushed through the room. The floors vibrated. Lights along the walls turned on one by one, forming a path beyond the sealed door. Rylan grabbed Mira and stepped back, but the door did not explode or open fast, it shifted, as if waking from a deep sleep. The symbol pulsed with soft blue light. Then the door slowly slid open. Inside, a long dark chamber waited. Machines stood in perfect condition, untouched by time. Advanced technology covered the walls, technology far beyond anything humans currently used. Mira took a slow step forward. She felt something in the air, a quiet whisper in her mind. It was not scary. It felt familiar. Rylan placed his arm in front of her. "Stay behind me." He stepped first into the chamber. The machines hummed, like they recognized him. Holographic screens flickered in and out. Mira followed, eyes wide with wonder. She reached out toward a floating panel. Before her fingers touched it, everything stopped. The air froze. The lights held still. Time felt heavy. Then a calm, cold voice whispered inside Myra's mind. "Welcome, heir." She gasped and turned around, but there was no one there. Only silence. Rylan heard nothing. He only saw Myra's shocked face. "Mira, what happened?" She swallowed hard. Her heart beat fast. The voice felt real. Not a dream. Not her imagination. I think the base knows who we are," she said softly. Rylan stared at the glowing machines, at the chamber that should not exist, at the symbols that belonged to no known human civilization. For the first time that day, he felt fear. And far outside, in the darkness of space, something else awakened too. The chamber's lights slowly brightened, one strip after another, revealing the room in full detail. Captain Rylan Ward stepped forward carefully. His soldier's instinct warned him, this was not normal technology. This was not even human technology from their era. The machines were silent, but Mira could feel them watching her. She rubbed her hands together nervously. "Dad. I do not think this place is empty." Rylan scanned the room with his wrist device. The readings were confusing. The energy levels were too high for an abandoned base. The air itself felt alive. "This chamber should not exist," he muttered. "Your grandfather never told me anything about it." Mira walked toward a large circular console at the center. It had no buttons, no screens, no wires. Only smooth metal with a faint glow under the surface. She placed her hand above it. The glow followed her movement like it recognized her. Again, the voice echoed inside her mind, calm, cold, and strangely gentle. "Air detected. Access restored." Mira gasped and stepped back. "It talked to me again." Rylan turned sharply. "You heard a voice?" "Yes," she whispered. "It said air. Why would it call me that?" Before he could answer, the entire console lit up with bright blue light. A hologram formed above it, tall, shaped like a human, but made of smooth lines and glowing patterns. It spoke in a deep, emotionless tone. "Designate Archon 01. Omega Tier Military Intelligence. Status, dormant for 86 years, until now." Rylan took a protective step in front of Mira. "Identify your purpose." The hologram turned its glowing eyes toward him. "Primary purpose, defense of the Ward bloodline." Both father and daughter froze. "The Ward bloodline?" Mira whispered. "Dad, that means Grandpa knew this thing." Archon continued. "Commander Alistair Ward activated my final protocol before his death. Only his direct descendants may enter this chamber." Rylan felt his chest tighten. His father had served in a secret division during the old wars, but he never spoke of anything like this. "Why would my father hide you here?" Rylan asked. "Because humanity is not ready," Archon answered. "This weapon's power can change the balance of the entire galaxy." Mira felt chills run down her arms. "What weapon?" The hologram pointed toward the far end of the chamber. A second door slid open silently. Inside was a vast room filled with massive machinery, metal arms, giant cores, long tubes that looked like cannons but far more advanced. Rylan stared in disbelief. "This is ancient human tech." Archon spoke again. "Not ancient. Forbidden." Mira walked to a glass platform that overlooked the weapon chamber. She felt a strange pull inside her chest, like the machine wanted something from her. "What does it do?" she asked. Archon's voice grew quieter. "It controls gravity." Silence filled the room. Rylan shook his head slowly. "That is impossible. No one has mastered gravity manipulation." "Incorrect," Archon replied. "Humanity mastered it once. Before the treaties. Before the collapse." Mira turned toward the glowing figure. Why would Grandpa leave this here? Why give it to us? Because only you can activate it. Rylan placed a firm hand on Myra's shoulder. We are not activating anything. This weapon is dangerous. Suddenly, alarms blared across the base, sharp, echoing, loud. Red lights flashed across the walls. Archon turned his gaze toward the surface. Alert. External surveillance triggered. Unauthorized activity detected near the outer gate. Rylan's training kicked in instantly. Are they human? He asked. Archon paused. Negative. Mira felt her stomach drop. Aliens? Already? Archon nodded. The energy spike from the chamber has been detected outside this moon. A Varric scouting team has landed. Rylan clenched his fists. The Varric were known for one thing, stealing abandoned tech and killing anyone who resisted. Dad, what do we do? Mira whispered. Rylan looked around the chamber. He saw powerful machines he did not understand. He saw danger written in every glowing line on the floor. He saw his daughter standing bravely beside him. We defend ourselves, he said. We defend this base. And we defend Grandpa's secret. Archon stepped forward. If you wish to survive, you must understand the weapon. Only the heir can access the core. Myra's heart pounded. Me? Yes, Archon said. You are the key. The alarms grew louder. Heavy footsteps echoed above. The Varric were already inside the outer hallways. Rylan grabbed Myra's hand. Stay close to me. We survive together. Archon extended his arm. A glowing pathway appeared on the floor, leading deeper into the base. Follow the path. And hurry. The enemy is coming. Mira looked up with wide eyes. Dad, this is bigger than us. Rylan nodded. Yes. And that is why we cannot run. They followed the glowing path into the unknown, while the ancient base, their inheritance, began to wake with rising power. The deeper Rylan and Mira walked into the glowing corridor, the more alive the old space base felt. Metals vibrated softly, lights blinked awake, and machines that once slept for decades now stirred like waking giants. But none of it stopped the growing fear in Rylan's chest. Above them, heavy footsteps echoed. The Varric scouts had entered the base. Myra's small hand tightened around her father's. Dad, they are close. Rylan nodded and moved her behind him, eyes sharp and ready. Stay alert. Archon, guide us. Archon floated beside them like a silent ghost, his blue form cutting through the darkness. This way, he said, pointing toward a large circular elevator platform. It will take you to the core chamber, the heart of the weapon. Rylan hesitated. You want us to go closer to the weapon? Archon's voice remained calm. If the Varric reach the core first, they will take full control. You must activate the command link before they do. Mira stepped forward with surprising courage. If I am the only one who can control it, then I have to go. Rylan stared at his daughter, small, brave, determined. His father had trusted her. Now he had to as well. Let's move, he said. The elevator platform hummed and sank into the base. As they descended, the sound of alien voices echoed from above. The Varric scouts had found the entrance. The core chamber. The elevator reached the bottom with a heavy shake. The doors opened into a huge room, so large Mira felt like she had entered another world. The floor curved downward into a massive pit of machinery, glowing cores, and floating energy rings. Rylan let out a long breath. This is unbelievable. Archon nodded. This is the graviton pulse engine. The strongest weapon humans ever built. Mira walked down the steps slowly, her eyes shining with wonder. Every time she moved, parts of the machine responded, lights shifting, rings spinning, energy pulsing. It feels alive, she whispered. Archon explained. The weapon reacts to the ward bloodline. Only you can activate it. Rylan followed behind her, checking every corner for danger. His soldier's instincts screamed at him, this machine was too powerful, too unstable. If they made one mistake, the whole moon could explode. Before he could speak, the sound of metal scraping echoed through the room. SHKKK, SHKKK, SHKKK. Rylan raised his weapon. They found us. The Varric arrive. 3 Varric scouts emerged from the shadows, tall, armored, with glowing red eyes and sharp breathing masks. Their leader hissed loudly. Human soldier, hand over the base. Rylan stood firm. You will leave now. The Varric laughed. Their voices rattled like broken metal. This station belongs to us. Your child cannot protect you. Mira stepped behind her father, but Archon floated forward, his form expanding with glowing energy. Unauthorized species detected. Access denied. The Varric leader snarled. You think a hologram will stop us? He raised his plasma rifle. But before he fired, the weapon chamber reacted. The floor lit up. Energy rings spun faster. The air became heavy. Mira felt a burning pulse inside her chest, like the machine was syncing with her heartbeat. She could not explain it, she did not understand it, but she stepped forward. Stop, she shouted. The Varric stared at her with confusion. Suddenly, the entire chamber shook. A massive pillar of blue light shot upward from the center of the core. The Varric leader whispered, the weapon, it is waking. Archon's voice boomed across the chamber. Air detected. Authorization, full access. Panels around the room opened. Machinery unfolded like wings. The graviton pulse engine powered up, its energy reaching Mira like a storm of electricity. Rylan yelled, Mira, step back. It is too dangerous. But she could not. The weapon pulled her closer, gently, like it recognized her soul. Mira lifted her hands, and the light responded, swirling around her like a glowing storm. The Varric panicked. Stop her. If she activates it, we all die. They fired their weapons. Rylan jumped in front of Mira, ready to take the hit. But the shots never reached him. The air bent. The bullets curved away from them, pulled aside like invisible hands had redirected them. Mira stared, shocked. Dad. I did not do that. The machine did. Archon confirmed. The weapon protects its operator. Continue. The first activation. Mira took a deep breath and placed her hand on the glowing control panel. The moment she touched it, the entire chamber roared to life. The ring spun in impossible shapes. Gravity twisted and curled like waves. The Varric were lifted off the ground, unable to move. Rylan watched in awe as his daughter stood at the center of a storm of power, calm, steady, unafraid. Archon's voice echoed. Initialization complete. Weapon ready. The Varric leader screamed as he and his soldiers were hurled backward by invisible force. Rylan ran to Mira, pulling her into his arms as the power calmed. Mira, are you hurt? She shook her head. No. Dad. I think I can control it. Rylan stared at the glowing core. At the fallen Varric. At the power his daughter now held. Then the galaxy will come for us, he whispered. Archon responded. Yes. And they are already on their way. For a long moment, the core chamber was silent except for the soft hum of the weapon. The air slowly settled. The floating debris dropped. The twisted gravity eased into normal shape. Mira stood in the center, shaking slightly, her hands still glowing with leftover energy. Rylan held her shoulders gently. Mira, you did something impossible. She breathed heavily, but her eyes were steady. It was not me, Dad. The weapon was using me. Guiding me. Archon floated closer, his glowing form brighter than before. Her connection is stable. She has full access to the graviton pulse engine. Rylan looked around the chamber, destroyed panels, faint smoke, fallen Varric scouts. He tightened his grip on Mira. Can we turn the weapon off? Archon answered calmly. For now. But communication signals have already reached deep space. Varric reinforcements are coming. And others will follow. Mira swallowed hard. Other aliens? More dangerous ones? Yes, Archon said. This weapon was feared by entire empires. Many believed humanity destroyed it long ago. Its reactivation will not go unnoticed. Rylan closed his eyes for a moment. He had survived battles before, but this was different. This time the soldier was a father first, and the fate of his daughter, and perhaps humanity, rested on his decisions. He opened his eyes and spoke firmly. Archon, how long until the reinforcements arrive? Archon paused. 7 minutes. Myra's heart dropped. 7 minutes. That is nothing. Rylan took a deep breath. Then we used those 7 minutes wisely. The final preparation. Archon led them to a raised platform that controlled the outer defenses of the base. Holographic screens lit up. Energy maps flickered. Weapon systems reactivated one by one. The old space base, once a piece of junk, once mocked by settlers, now came alive with roaring power. Myra's eyes widened. Dad. Grandpa hid all this inside a falling-apart building. Rylan smiled sadly. He knew humanity was not ready. But I think he believed you would be. Mira touched the console. Instantly, the whole outer layer of the base responded. Walls moved. Massive cannons rose from the ground. Shields shimmered like a growing bubble. The base no longer looked abandoned. It looked like the beating heart of ancient human power. Archon's voice echoed. Multiple Varric ships entering atmosphere. Rylan's jaw tightened. Let them come. The enemy arrives. The ground outside shook. The sky above the moon turned red as Varric warships cut through the clouds. Their engines roared like thunder. Their searchlights blasted across the surface. The settlers who once mocked Rylan stared from a distance in pure terror. Why are they coming here? What did the soldier do? That base, it was not dead. The Varric commander spoke through a booming speaker. Human soldier. Surrender the base or be erased. Rylan looked at Mira. We stand together. Mira nodded bravely. Together. The first strike. The Varric ships opened fire first. Massive plasma beams shot toward the base. But the shields, ancient, powerful, glowing blue, absorbed the attacks like they were raindrops. Mira gasped. Dad, the shields did not even shake. Rylan grinned. We have a chance. Archon spoke. Mira, you may fire when ready. Mira placed her hand on the control disk. The entire base responded. Lights turning bright. Cores spinning. Energy building like a rising storm. A huge cannon rose from the ground, mechanical pieces locking into place with a deep THOM. Mira whispered, ready. She pressed her palm down. The cannon fired. A blazing beam of blue energy shot into the sky. Fast, silent, and deadly. The first Varric ship exploded in a flash of light. The settlers gasped. The Varric screamed through their comms. Impossible. It is the graviton weapon. Retreat. But it was too late. Mira fired again. The second ship broke apart. The remaining Varric ships turned to flee, but the base locked onto them automatically. Within seconds, all enemy ships were gone, nothing left but sparkles in the air. The moon fell silent again. Aftermath. Mira slowly lowered her hand. Her breathing was shaky, but she was unharmed. Rylan wrapped his arms around her. You saved us. You saved everyone. Archon stepped forward. The threat is over for now. But more will come. Many factions will want this weapon. Mira looked up at her father, her eyes steady. Then we protect it. Just like Grandpa wanted. Rylan nodded. We protect humanity. Archon added. And Mira, there is a final message left by your grandfather. It is stored deeper inside the base. Myra's heart jumped. A message? Archon nodded. Yes. But the message is not the only thing hidden. Beneath this weapon lies something far more powerful. Rylan stared at the hologram. More powerful than this? Archon's voice dropped to a whisper. Much more. And it is waiting for the heir to wake it. Mira and Rylan looked at each other. Their journey was far from over. And the galaxy had no idea what was coming.